Hey folks, Frank the Pest Geek here. Well, I've got back into my workout routine at least 3 days, 3 routines in a row. I haven't been to working out, as you're going to see in the previous video why. Haven't been to working out in a month. And I'm piling on the weight. I'm piling on stress weight. My cortisol levels go through the roof. I start gaining weight from just breathing air. Um, it's not easy being me, folks. But just a whole lot of stuff happened. My mom is at home with me in hospice care. Um, been very stressful, and the stress just makes me, when I don't sleep well, I get insomnia, then I can't function, then I don't have the energy. I hate working out. Working out to me is like the biggest waste of time, yet I know I have to do it. And I think my workout routine and working out relates to just about everything in the business. Discipline to do it, making the time to do it, going through the pain, doing the workout when you can no longer push and you can get one more rep in. I mean, working out and to build endurance. Right now I don't want muscle, I want to have endurance. I want to be able to run and walk and jog and not have my heart rate at 150 beats a minute. So I started back. I went last Saturday. I went last Friday. I went Monday, and I went today Wednesday. So I'm going every 3 days, Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Um, so that's my routine right now. And then I'm going to try to start doing cardio again in between. But I'm doing full body workouts 3 days a week. So everything, and it feels good. But man, I've been having insomnia. Whenever I get severely stressed with something like this, like, hey, you go to the doctor, and the doctor says, she's dying. There's nothing we can do. That is stressful. That just hits me to process that, and then sleeping 2 hours a night, and then trying to function, be nice to everybody, love people, be patient, being kind, learning to deal with the employees. I have to answer all the phone calls, and I'm on 2 to 4 hours of sleep. I'm getting my sleep regulated now this week. So at least 3 days in a row, on and off, I've been getting 6 to 8 hours of sleep back again, which is good. I don't want to take the medication. I don't want to take pills to sleep because it just messes me up during the day. They all do. And I don't want to get addicted to anything, so I resist it. I try to do it with GABA and with L-theanine and with other amino acids to try to help me with Relora, I think it's called. I'm trying to do it with that. I've done it before when I get severely stressed, but I got to push through the pain. I have no choice. I've got children to run, a business to run. I got to live my life. After this, I have to still be able to function and manage and do everything I need to do for my family. So I have to figure out a way. And working out is tough, but I know I got to do it. I want to go back in, and I said I'm going to stick to this. I'm going to do this. I don't care what it takes. I'm gonna fall 100 times. I'm gonna fall off the wagon. I had a chicken sandwich today from Popeyes. By the way, guys, everybody's been talking about Popeyes and Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich and all these. Man, I had a Popeye chicken sandwich 2 weeks ago for the first time. Never had one before, and man, is that thing amazing! It beats hands down Chick-fil-A. I don't care, culture, no culture, God, no God. Um, Popeye's chicken sandwich, hands down, beats any chicken sandwich I've ever had. That thing is freaking amazing. So I had one today. My son wanted a chicken sandwich, so I took him to Popeye's. I had a spicy one. He had a regular one. He ate 3/4 of it. For a 7-year-old, that's pretty good. I had a Diet Coke. Like that's any better. But guys, it's just grappling with stuff. I mean, what are you gonna do? I got a hypothetical for you guys. It isn't hypothetical. It's happened to me. It's happened to me more than once, and I already learned how to deal with it and how to manage it. And there was a post by a fellow pest control guy who we've chatted before privately also about the business, and he started up, about a year ago. He's already to the point where he had another guy, but the way he went about it, when you're hiring your first people and you're cutting the first deals, you tend to make the wrong choices. And most of you guys that start building up a business are building it without an infrastructure, without a solid foundation, and you're building it based upon the warm body that you can grab. I'm telling you, I am not a fan of hiring industry people, especially people with high experience, because then they want to come in and tell you how to run your business. They come with too much baggage. I can't retrain them. For the most part, if you're going to be, hey, the standard spray and pray company, most guys are going to work. We're specialized, and we had the conversation that he posted it on Facebook. I've been watching it for 2 days since last night. I said, this is going to be interesting. Started looking through all of 45 comments. Not really a single helpful one, guys. This is pathetic. Why? Because when he posted that he lost his technician, he didn't lose him. His technician got injured, and he's out. Doesn't know for how long, possibly a week, possibly more. He's going to start looking for another tech. I've had to fire my tech and jump on the route and work 100 hours a week. That's reality. When you're a small guy and you are hiring a guy and your tech gets injured, when mine got COVID, when I had to fire one, when I had to replace another guy, the time it takes to find another person could be weeks, could be months. I've had it where I've hired a guy in 4 weeks, 3 weeks, and I've had it where it's took me 3 months. I had one situation, it took us 6 months to find a guy in not such a bad economy. So when I hear the comments, and I'm going to put my hand in the way there for a second, when I read all the comments, I'm going to let this ride before I jump in and I comment on this. And the reality is that most of the guys giving advice, I can tell, has never hired a person in their life. You're not paying enough. Automatically assuming there's not enough context in that much text for you to come up with a solution. But I had enough information in it to know you're going to be up a creek without a paddle right now if that guy quits. So I let the thing ride. I listened. I read all the comments. People are like, well, you got to pay 20, 22%, and giving all these industry stats of what you have to do to get a guy. Well, that's if you're attracting from the industry, and then you got a guy with 5 years experience, and he's at a big company, and you're a startup company, and you can barely make payroll, and you think you're going to attract people from the industry with more experience when you're barely at that tipping point of where you just have so much business you can't do it by yourself, but you don't have enough business where then you can hire an experienced guy to run all the routes and do termite and do rodent and do pest control, and you want a guy with all that experience because guess what? Oh, you want to abdicate. You don't want to manage. You don't want to train. You don't want to coach. You want to basically hire somebody, dump it on them and say, go at it, buddy, and run your business. You haven't read the EMyth. I suggest you read the EMyth. This is the biggest mistake everybody makes when hiring their first guy. He's in a state where in order for that guy to run himself and by himself and apply chemical and touch a chemical, mix a chemical and apply it, he's got to become certified in the state first. It's not like Florida. Florida, I can hire a guy, I can train him for 40 hours of training with me. After 40 hours, I can let him loose on his own. I don't have to consult the state. I apply for an ID. I got 30 days to apply for an ID if I'm going to keep the guy. But after 40 hours, I can let him loose on his own. Not in certain states. In particular state, before he can leave him on his own, he's got to take the state exam, get certified, and become a certified applicator. The problem is in the state right now, with COVID, under normal circumstances, it takes 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, you got a guy, you apply, he gets certified in 2 weeks. There's a backlog of two months. So if you're lucky enough to hire a guy, you got to pay him for 2 to 3 months and have enough payroll where he has to run around with you because you can't let him loose. You see, guys, when somebody posts something, you only have a snapshot of that point in time. There's not enough context for you to make usually that call. It isn't like, what do you use for spiders? I read 40 something answers. All the answers were pretty much wrong. Well, that's just my opinion. I said, well, your opinion is great if your opinion actually helps him solve the problem. An opinion, anybody can have an opinion. It's your opinion. Doesn't mean it's worth anything. Doesn't mean it's tested. Doesn't mean it's like a theory. Most opinions are like theories. Or I even have a strategy. Well, has a strategy been proven in the marketplace? Because if it hasn't, opinions, what I found is like, most of you are going to get insulted, are like buttholes. Most of it, what comes out is crap. So you really need to get context. Most people giving advice, stop giving advice in groups. You guys are no better. Listen, some of you guys are no better than the DIY groups where a mom gets on there and tells everybody to spread diatomaceous earth all over the house. When it comes to giving hiring advice, if you've actually never done it and have 2 to 3 technicians where you've hired and fired 15 to 20 people, you really don't have a clue of what you're talking about. Just because you read a book and listen to a podcast like mine doesn't mean you know what you're talking about. You're parroting, you're regurgitating things that you've heard other people say. It makes you feel good to say it, but it doesn't help. And he put at the end of the text, please, can you give me advice without being a butthole? Because that's what most people behave like in groups anymore. So, this wasn't in my group, by the way, but that was posted. It was posted somewhere else. Most people don't behave like buttholes in my group because they know I have a butt plug for you. So most people are pretty well behaved. But the advice it was just not helpful. It wasn't, pay 20%, pay this, pay that. How do you don't even know the marketplace the guy's in. You haven't done a market analysis. You don't know what city he's in. You don't have demographics. You don't know what he's able to pay. He's the highest priced guy in his area, and his prices are 60% less than mine for initials. He's charging $95 a quarter. I'm at $89 every 2 months right now. I'd be at $125 a quarter. I charge 25% more, and he's at the highest price in his market. When somebody says they're the highest price in their market, that doesn't mean a hell of beans, because we don't understand what the costs are. We don't know what his overhead is. We don't know what his lifestyle is at. I mean, he's taking chump change as a salary right now. I feel bad for the guy. So I called, I picked up the phone and I said, bro, give me a call. He called me. I was getting into karate. We had a 1-hour conversation about a real world strategy and looking at things from different perspectives, because too many unknowns. I can't give him advice unless I understand the whole situation, unless I understand the financials, unless I understand what his cost structure is. Too many variables to give that advice. So basically, he does not have to pay a 25 or 18 or 30% production to get employees. That's only if you're hiring from the industry. If you put an ad out for X amount per hour for a trainee that's never done pest control, and maybe he's 24, 25 years old, going to college, and he doesn't need 40 hours a week. Maybe he only needs 30. So you got to think really outside the box and be a manager. I've worked as a manager for 20-something years. I was managing a crew of 20 people by the time I was 21. We had a 14% payroll, and we couldn't go above that. And I had a P&L. I learned to read a P&L by the time I was 21. So you don't need X percentage. You can actually run a company on 12% payroll for technicians. Because if you want a technician that can do drilling and can do termite and can crawl in a crawl space, he doesn't need that. As a matter of fact, he's doing all that work, plus the admin work, and he's putting in 100 hours a week, and he's taking less money than the technician is. He's paying himself. I said, dude, you're going to have to do two things. Number one is stop taking new clients. And tell every client, listen, I can't take on a new client right now until you replace that technician. That was one of the pieces of advice. Figure out if you have any clients that are bad clients and you can dump them, because you don't need bad clients right now. You need good clients, and replace them with good clients. Put an ad out and sell the job. Don't put in a job description of everything they're going to be doing. Sell the job. From the moment you become and you need to hire your first technician, you're no longer in the pest control business. You're now in the recruiting business. And your number one job is always be recruiting. I love it when technicians that work for companies that have never hired anybody say stupid comments like, I love driving behind a van that says we're hiring. If you were paying your people right and you were doing things right, you wouldn't have to be hiring. That guy has never hired anybody in his life. Okay? Listen, I'm telling to you straight, bro. You don't know what you're talking about. Second, if you have 5 technicians and one quits, one gets injured, one gets fired, I don't care how much you pay a guy. If the guy is a thief, the guy is a thief. No matter how much you pay him. Because paying people more or offering to pay more doesn't bring you better people. Now what it does is it brings you a tsunami of people that you have to sort through and decide which one is actually worth the money I'm paying. And when you have a technician with no experience, you can pay less. You can bring them up, decide if you're going to keep him, and then go through this process all over again. And guess what? I don't want to, because you're not a salesman. The same reason you're not selling is because you don't want to be selling. See, here's the people. Everybody sells. Everybody sells. Okay? When you're going in for that interview, you're a salesman. You're selling yourself. You're selling yourself as the greatest thing since sliced cheese. The problem is, most of you aren't worth toe cheese that apply. That's the reality. I got to sift through 700 to 1,000 applicants to find one guy that I'm willing to interview. How do you do that? I don't sift through it. I let them sift through it and they qualify themselves by my process. My process is a process I learned from HR recruiters that know more than you about hiring. So when you tell me you think you know something and I see a HR recruiter that has 20 years of experience recruiting people and I talk to him about how to do it, that's how you do it. Especially when we're dealing with very low scale work. Okay? When you're dealing with low scale work, like pest control, it isn't like high tech. We're not recruiting an engineer with a degree and he graduated at the top of his class. We're generally hiring 18 to 25-year-olds enter this business. 50% of the people that enter this business enter between 18 and 25. The turnover rate in pest control is astronomically high because people realize this isn't for them. There isn't anybody waking up in the morning saying, I want to be the bad guy. I want to be the bad guy. I want to be the Orkin man. Nobody wants to be the freaking Orkin man. Second of all, you're competing against other technical jobs. If there is a cable installer in the area job open, why would he deal with bugs, crawling in crawl spaces, and dealing with chemicals when he can just deal with wire? You're competing against that. You're competing against a warehouse job that could be paying more than what you're offering. You're competing with the solar guy. You're competing with the alarm guy. You're competing with the appliance repair guy. People who are technical are going to feel comfortable in any technical area to learn any job. Here's the secret. You need to find people that have management aptitude. And you don't know how to find that because you've never been a manager. But I know how to find people with management aptitude that don't think they have management aptitude and have never had a management job. But they have management aptitude. And the only way you're going to discover it is through something like Hire Select or Predictive Index, which is what the big guys use. But you're going to have to spend $1,500 to $2,000 a year on it. Oh my God, I'm not going to spend $2,000 a year. I can't afford it. Well, can you afford $8,000 worth of salary for the next 3 months to figure out you've got the wrong guy? You see, folks, you're straining the gnat and swallowing the camel. So what I do is I create an automated process. Here's where you go. I sell the job based on the criteria of what I'm looking for in the inner man. And then I say to get an instant interview, go here. And if they text me, email me, send me a message saying, I want you to talk to you about getting an interview at your company, I automatically ignore it. I only listen to the guy that followed directions. Because if he can't follow directions on how to get a job, how is he going to follow directions on a label? And read an SDS? And read Truman's Guide? And the Malice Guide? And any other guide that you can come up with in a training protocol? Second, after they've gone through the interview, I look at the video and I said, this guy isn't worth my toe cheese. So I don't even call him back. I just send him a message. Thank you for the interview. Unfortunately, we're looking for other options. And I just keep the videos coming. And I keep looking through them until I find the one that says, aha, this guy has potential. Let's see if he does have potential. Here's the next step. Take this 75-minute. Oh my God, nobody's going to take today a 75-minute. Nobody's going to do it. No, you're not going to do it because you think you're above that. But if he really wants a job and he follows directions and he plays by the rules and he's conscientious and he has all the makeup of a manager, he's going to take that assessment. That assessment is going to have a mechanical aptitude test, a reading test, a mathematics test, 2 personality profiles. Because he can mess up on one, but they have to both match up, and then I know I got a good match. And then I evaluate that, and then I say, aha, this guy's got potential. Let me bring him in for an interview. And that's how I do it, folks. That's how I recruit. I put it on autopilot. You're going to have to spend some money on Indeed for some ads. Because those free ads, unless you run them in 20 cities like I do, well, I'll put the ad in 20 different cities, 20 ads. That's right. In every city. Because you can't run it in one city alone. I run it in 20 cities because I don't care where he lives. There's the take-home vehicle. And then he goes and starts from there. And I build the route around there. And I use the logistics. I don't want the guy to take the truck. He's going to have to commute an hour. You just shot yourself in the head, bud. Because you're not making it hard for that person to work for you. You think everything is about you. It's all about them. What they want. Not what you want. So I got to figure that out. Put ads. Write it. Put money into ads. I'm not going to spend $400 on ads. Well, then you can't compete in the marketplace because it is a competitive marketplace. What you don't understand is the employee market is a market. And you are competing just like when buying stocks. Just like when buying a product. You are, listen, as a business who is a solo operator, who doesn't have a brand, who doesn't have any job security, who doesn't have 401k, who doesn't have vacations, who doesn't have anything other than a salary to offer, is trying to attract somebody, and you're wanting all of this from them, and you have nothing to offer. It's kind of like the guy that says, I want, I want, the trophy wife, and you don't have two nickels to rub together. What do you have to offer? You're competing for talent. You're in the talent acquisition business when you start wanting to hire people. You're not in the pest control business. Your job is to hire talent. And then you have to train, and you have to coach, and you have to have then, once you have this is the recruiting plan I just gave you. I didn't even give you the hiring process. Where's your employee manual? Where is your onboarding manual? Where's your training process? Where is your evaluation process? How are you going to coach? I have to do a coaching session every day. I get a call from a client. I had a coaching session this morning. Client says, send me another tech that you sent last time. Don't send me that other one because he didn't do such a good, thorough job as the other guy did. I look at his notes. The notes are thorough. Here's his problem. He doesn't communicate as much as the other guy. He didn't tell them, I found this and I didn't find this, and look at the monitors. I found this in the monitor, and I went ahead and treated the bathroom, and I did all this. He just goes and does his job and doesn't communicate. The other guy communicates better, therefore he's a better technician. He did it exactly the same way. But the perception is my other technician is better. Actually, he is a better technician, this guy, than the other guy who the customer thinks is the better technician. But anyway, I digress. You see, and now he needs to just find a college kid, give him 3 days a week, and then have another guy come in 3 days a week.